Welcome to Live DAF, your online DAF Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem. Welcome back to today's DAF Hayemi Maseches Bava Metzia DAF Tesvav. We are on Tesvav Amud Aleph. Actually, we got pretty far down the Amid to the 17th line. V'savar Shmuel lokeach migazlan lesle shvacha. Let's go back for a second to yesterday's DAF, where Shmuel tells us an interesting chiddush. Shimon stole a field from Reuven. Reuven is the actual owner. Shimon is the gazlan, who turned around and sold that stolen field to Levi, innocent buyer. It's discovered as a stolen field, right? Levi is looking for reimbursement from the gazlan who sold that stolen field to him. Shmuel says that although the lekeach, the purchaser, Levi, can collect the keren, the actual purchase amount, right, the actual principal, but he cannot collect if there is any shvach involved. If Levi invested and improved on the field, that shvach, that enhancement, he cannot get back from Shimon, although he really is entitled to it. So why can't he? There's a ribus issue, because technically the sort of sale that took place between Shimon and Levi was null and void. Never took off the ground. It was a stolen field, right? So technically the money that Levi handed Shimon wasn't really sale money. It was like a loan, basically, which he's now getting back with extra because of the shvach. It appears like ribis, like he's taking extra for on account of that loan that he loaned to Shimon. Therefore, Shmuel says that lekech migazlan has no shvach. Asks the Gemara, Savar Shmuel, is that true that Shmuel holds lekech migazlan does not have shvach? Lesle shvacha va'amar le Shmuel. But didn't Shmuel himself instruct a famous scribe, L'Rav Chinana bar Shilas? He told this sefer, Imlich, V'ksaiv, Shufra, Shvacha, Uperi, before you write a document, ask the seller if he's willing to warranty the sale to the point that he'll commit himself to back up the sale. If it's taken away from if the item's taken away from his buyer, he'll back it up with his best properties, shufra, shvacha, uperi. He'll pay the enhancements, all the effort, the investments that the buyer put into the property, uperi, any fruit that he's going to lose. Now, b'mai, what happened? Why would his buyer lose the field? Why is he giving it up? Who's coming to take it from him? On account of what claim is it going to be expropriated? B'mai ibe bal chayv, is it the creditor of the seller who's going after the buyer now? Mi'isle peri, since when does a bal chayv access peris that he finds on the field? V'amar Shmuel bal chayv goyves ha'shvach. Yesterday Shmuel tells us that a bal chayv can take the whole field with whatever is included in the actual field, the shvach, the enhancements, fine, but not the crops. Shvach the shvach he can take of al peris loy. So apparently we're not speaking about a bal chayv repossessing. Oh, back to the old gazlan. Shimon stole from Reuven, who now sold it to Levi. Shimon accepted, committed to back up this whole sale, including the shvach and the peris that his buyer might lose when he gives up the field to the real owner. Clearly, the lekech is entitled to shvach as well, in contradiction to Shmuel. Amar Rabbi Yosef, you know what? The concern here is ribus, right? There are several ways to bypass the ribus appearance issue. Amar Rabbi Yosef, my skin was speaking conscientiously karka. Shimon, the Ganav, who's selling it to Levi, who's backing up the sale to Levi, has fields, has property, which he'll use to pay up Levi when he loses that field to the real owner. So since he's not actually giving him back money, it doesn't look like he's repaying a loan. It looks like he's, selling the karka to him. That's fine. How does that help us regarding ribus? Is a person allowed to borrow a measure of wheat to return that measure of wheat, which obviously you can't do. It's a Gemara in Bava Metzia later on, because that commodity might go up in value, so you're giving him more than he took. But do we make exception b'makim sheish lekarka when he can paying back with karka? Right? So if he gives him back karka instead of wheat, is that going to spare him the issue of ribis? The fact is, he's giving him more value than he took. So why would this be allowed in our case? Amalei, he says a big difference. Over there, he's actually borrowing wheat and giving him more than he took. Hasam halva, it's a loan, so it looks like ribis when he gives it to him based on the current higher value. Hachazvini, here, ultimately, Levi purchased the field. He didn't actually lend Shimon money. It was purchase money, right? So, to start off, it's not really a loan. And in order to really preempt any appearance of loan money and ribis, all you do is give him back karka, and now nobody thinks of it as a loan. Ikad Amri, there's another way to get around ribis. Amar Rav Yosef, that when Shimon, what happened was when Shimon sold the field to Levi, his innocent buyer, he was kana miyadei. They made a kinyan on the shvach as well. So basically, Shimon, the ganav / seller, committed with a kinyan that in the event that Levi, the buyer, loses the field to the real owner, Shimon will compensate him for the shvach as well. So it's a personal commitment starting from now. So that was part of the initial deal. Right? There's no issue of ribis. Ribis means, look, you held on to my money, I could have used it elsewhere, please give me a fee for borrowing the money. Here, the seller, right when he took that money, already committed to paying the shvach. It's not like, okay, I'll hold on to the money for a while and then I'll pay you a fee for holding it. No, he committed right now. So that preempts any ribis issues. So once again, Abaye responds, the classic ribis case is the sab, right? I borrow a pound of wheat with the intent of returning a pound of wheat, even when the price rises, is an issue of ribis. But let's say they made a kinyan, a commitment. Initially, this is what's going to happen, I'm going to pay you regardless. Is that mutter? Of course not. So why is our case different? The answer is the same as before, because here it doesn't really give the appearance of a loan. Amalei Hassam, over there by the wheat, it's halva, ultimately it's a loan, so it appears like ribis. When he gives him back the pound of wheat, which is now worth more, but here, ultimately it was really just a purchase. He purchased a field. So if you add this extra element of kinyan, which triggers that instant commitment for the shvach as well, it doesn't appear like he's paying him later for money held all along. Let's go back. Amar Shmuel, Baal Chayiv gives hashvach. What about a Baal Chayiv who's owed money, whose borrower now defaulted? He's going to go after the properties, and he finds some sort of property tied up by another buyer that was sold by the loiva after the loan. So he has a right to go repossess that with the shvach, including any enhancements that the customer may have, affected on that property. But not the peres. That's not really inherently part of the field. Amar Rava Teda, I'll prove. I'll support this point. Because standard formula in a shtar mechir, in a property sale document, goes like this. Ano ekum, right? All these are Aramaic words, lashones, that indicate that in fact the sale is fully guaranteed and warranted and secured and backed up by the seller. Should any complication arise, ano ekum, I will establish. V'ashvi, quiet down any challenges. It can clean. V'emri, can cleanse. Zvini, this sale. Inon v'amalein shvachein, the actual item that's being sold, the fields and the amalein and all the work that's put in v'shvachein, and any enhancements, any investments that you may have put into the field. Basically, I'm going to be there for you. Ve'ekum kadamach, I'll reestablish it before you. Utzvi, zvina done, we accepted, I accepted the sale, Ukava loya, and I accepted, he accepted on himself this commitment. Pretty comprehensive warranty language, which indicates that in fact, the meicher is fully aware of his commitment to reimburse his buyer for any losses incurred due to his lender coming after the properties, including the shvach that'll take away. So clearly, he takes away the shvach. If you're basing it on the formula of the actual document, your typical shtar matana, a gift document, doesn't have all these expressions. Right? Rashi says, typically, when you give a gift, you're not warrantying it, right? So here, since the recipient of the gift is not entitled to reimbursement on the shvach, do you mean that the Baal Chayv can't take the shvach? Meaning if it's dependent on the ability of the owner to be reimbursed. So recipient of matana doesn't have that ability. Do you mean Baal Chayv has no entitlement to the shvach? Amar says, yeah, actually, right on, incorrect. So when you sell a field, your Baal Chayv can go after the field and the shvach, but if you give it as a matana, he can't take away the shvach. Really? You mean a gift is better than a sale? Which is hard to believe. He says, actually, yeah, yafa v'yafa, it's true, it's better. In this aspect, it's better. Right? So Rashi explains, the recipient of the gift has to give up the field to the Baal Chayv, because that was committed to the loan, but the pot that he invested, he says, look, this is none of your business. I put this money in here. I mean, it wasn't there beforehand, so what right do you have to take that from me? Amar Rav Nachman, the following brisa will support Mar Shmuel's chiddush that a Baal Chayv can repossess even the shvach. But V'huna Chavrin, our colleague Huna, Rav Huna, he has a different interpretation to the brisa in a way that it will not relate to Shmuel's halach. What is the brisa? The Sanya. Ruvain sells a field to Shimon. Okay, Shimon, let's go. Shimon sells to Levi. Okay? And ultimately, Levi is now forced to give up the field. Why? We'll see in a minute. And now he's going after his seller, who is Shimon, to reimburse him for that kshu goiva. So how does he collect? The actual sale money, he can take even from assets that are tied up, that have been sold by Shimon after this event took place. But the investment that he invested in the field, that he can only collect from available assets in the hands of Shimon. And the Gemara is assuming that who's taking the field away from the buyer? A Baal Chayv. So clearly, a Baal Chayv takes away the entire package with the shvach. But our friend Huna, he learns that the brisa is going on a different case, that Levi purchased from Shimon, who stole the field, and now the real owner comes and takes everything away. But who says a Baal Chayv has that right? Tani, we have another brisa, which again is going to relate to this halach of Shmuel, whether or not a Baal Chayv has a right to collect shevach from the kuches, from buyers of his borrower, of his labor. Shimon sold a field to Levi, who worked on it, enhanced it, improved on it. And Shimon's creditor comes and grabs the field away. So when Levi comes to collect and seeks reimbursement, so if the result of his efforts, the improvements in the field, are greater than the actual money he invested into the field, so he invested 100, and that caused the field to be lifted $1,000. So the Yetzia, which means the actual expense, right, that he invested, that he can take from the Baal Chayv. Because even though the Baal Chayv sort of claims ownership on this field now, but the fact is, when you invest something, you put money and you have a right to get that back even from the owner. Okay? So that he gets from the Baal Chayv. But the Shvach, meaning the fact is he invested only 100, so that gets in Baal Chayv. But between 100 and 1,000, that actual extra value that he inserted into the field, that he has the right to get not from the Baal Chayv, rather from the Baal HaKarka, the fellow who sold in the field, which is Shimei. But if poor fellow invested more than his return, meaning he invested 1,000 and it only affected an increase of 100. So here, he can only claim $1,000. Sorry, $100. Right? He can claim a reimbursement of $100 of his investment, kashir shvach, which corresponds to the actual enhancement, an increase in value. And who does he get it from? The Baal Chayv. From the Baal Chayv. Okay, so that's the price. Now, we have two halachas. In the first, he can claim reimbursement for the actual shvach. Right? He's going to get it from the seller, from the Baal Karka. In the second case, he'll get the Yetzia, the amount that he invested, from the Baal Chayv. Now, both points are going to be a kasha on Shmuel. Remember, Shmuel told us two things. Number one, you can never collect shvach from a gazlan. Right? If you bought the field from a robber, you can't collect the shvach. It looks like ribbis. And number two, that a Baal Chayv, a creditor, a lender can come snatch the whole field with the shvach included. Asks the Gemara of Shmuel, how is Shmuel going to interpret the brisa? If this fellow who's losing the field, who's giving up the field, purchased it from a gazlan, from Shimon who stole it from Ruvain, so why does the brisa in the first halacha tell us that it can go back to the gazlan for the shvach? Kasha reisha. So that first halacha is a kasha on Shmuel. Damar Shmuel lekech megazlan lesle shvacha, who says that you cannot collect shvach from a gazlan. It looks like ribbits. Now, even Baal Chayv, if the brisa is speaking that Levi is giving up the field to a Baal Chayv of Ruvain, there's no robbers involved, just a Baal Chayv, then we're going to have a double kasha. A Baal Chayv is entitled to repossess that field with the shvach included. So why are we compelling him to pay for anything? Kasha reisha v'seifa. Both halachas are going to be difficult to understand, because it says that the Baal Chayv has to reimburse the fellow Levi for investing. Damar Shmuel told us there's no need to do that. Baal Chayv is fully entitled. Goyves hashvach. So what's going on? Iboy is saying in one pshat, one possible interpretation could be v'lekech mikaslan. That the brisa is speaking where Levi purchased it from Shimon who stole the field. There's a gazlan involved. The question was, how could he be reimbursed for the shvach? What happened to the ribbis? Oh, kikash yesh le karka. Inamir b'shechana miyadai. One of those two options we discussed earlier. Shimon is paying him with karka, or there was a kinyan initially to commit him to any future shvach reimbursement, so there's no issue of ribbis. Same another pshat can be. On the other hand, Baal Chayv, Levi is losing the field to a Baal Chayv of Shimon. The question was, why is a Baal Chayv obligated to reimburse him for anything? Safayim are shoulders. It's an expression. There is crop which is very tall and fully mature, about to be harvested. That doesn't really constitute actual property anymore. It's like on its way out. So in that case, as Rashi, the Baal Chayv cannot just take it without paying for the Yetzia, for the investments. Right? Kam b'shvach she'ena megiluk safayim. And when Shmuel says that a Baal Chayv can just snatch the perez, snatch the shvach without having to repay, we're speaking about not fully grown produce, in which case it's part and parcel of the actual field, and he doesn't have to pay for that. Asks the Gemara of Amasa Mechaliyah, but this is a daily occurrence. In cases that are brought to the Bezdin of Shmuel, we found many times that Shmuel allowed the Baal Chayv to take everything with the karka, even fully mature crops, and without having to reimburse anybody. Lokash, the answer is like this: when do we say that the Baal Chayv is entitled to the entire thing free of charge, it's when his loan covers everything. He lent him $2 million. The field with the shvach is worth $2 million, so it's covered under the loan amount, so he gets everything. But when we say that he has to compensate and reimburse for investments, for expenses, that's speaking with the loan amount, only covers the property value without the shvach. So there he has to reimburse for expenses. He has to reimburse the investor for the shvach, and that's how he gets him out. Well, says the Gemara, what right does he have to take the entire thing and just pay him off with a check? Perhaps he should be compelled to leave him a little sliver of land. What right does he have to take the entire thing and just pay him off? Perhaps Levi wants to keep a little sliver of land corresponding to the shvach amount. That works according to the Shita, who holds the Isle Zuzi Lekeach, that when a Malva comes to the Lekeach to repossess this land, if the Lekeach has money available, he doesn't have the option of just paying off the Baal Chayv. Here, take the money that's owed to you and leave my field alone. So basically, that indicates to us that the Baal Chayv has a personal interest in the land. He has a stake in the land itself. You can't just send him away. Shoppers. That explains this halacha. He has first claim, first rights on the land. So he takes the whole land, the whole property, and at most he'll reimburse the Lekeach for expenses. According to the other opinion, that if Lekeach has access to funds, then he can exercise that redemption option. He can just send off the Baal Chayv with money, take this bag of cash and leave my field alone. So the Baal Chayv does not really have a direct claim on the field itself. So in our case, where essentially his loan does not really cover the entire value of the field, right? Namely, so can't Levi tell the Baal Chayv Ruvain, Ilu hava lizusi? If theoretically I would have money available, I would just send you on your way, right? I would just send you off. You wouldn't touch my field at all. Just because I don't have money today. So you're taking the field. Okay, but at least leave me something corresponding to the extra amount which you're not entitled to. I want land, I want property. Better than just money. Give me a little sliver of land. Right? So leave me a piece of land in this property according to the amount of the shvach which you owe me. Right? Says the Gemara, the answer is like this. My skin was speaking. Initially, the borrower, Shimon, designated this field. He earmarked this field. Your claim will be directed on this field itself. So it's a totally different status. The Amalei, right? He had told him, if I default, you can go straight to this field. So he's like a sort of an owner. So now he can take the entire thing. At most, he'll compensate Levi for his expenses. Continues the Gemara. Have a new case, a new story, a new machlekes between Rav and Shmuel. Levi knew, he was aware of the fact that Shimon had stolen in this field, and he bought it anyways. Now the real owner, Reuben, comes running, takes his field back, chases Levi off the field. Levi is looking for reimbursement from Shimon. Is he entitled or not? Amar Rav, Mois Yeshli. You can take the Mois that he paid for the field, Shvach Einle, but not the enhancements, the investments, the expenses he doesn't get. Ushmol Amar Filu Mois Einle. He doesn't get anything. And the reason why, according to Rav, he can't get Shvach, Rashi says, Shekarka Ze'ene Kanaloi, because really it was never his. He knew that. He was just, risking his investment. He knew he's not going to have any recourse. So he doesn't get that back. Some say there's an issue of ribbis. In any case, he's not entitled to the Shvach. Shmuel says he loses everything. Why? Ma'akim Mifli, what's the point of the machlekes? Says the Gemara, Rav Savar. Rav, who holds that he can get back the actual sale money, holds Adam Yedea Shekarka Inli. He knows full and well that this property is not going to stay in his hands. He knows it's stolen. V'gamar v'nasan l'shem pikadon. So the money that he handed to Shimon was like a deposit, a temporary deposit. He wants it back. So why didn't he just tell him straight out, I'm depositing the money by you? Meaning, why did he use this ploy to get him to hold on to it, to care for his money? Meaning, he knew it wasn't really a sale. He just needed some place to deposit his money safely, so he gave it in this fashion. Why did he just tell him straight out, right? He figures maybe the fellow is not going to want to do it, not going to take responsibility, so he used this sort of trick to get him to hold on to the money, but it was really meant as a pikadon. He's entitled to get it back. Shmuel disagrees. He knows that the field is not his. It was just a way to give him a gift. Why didn't he tell him straight out? It's a birthday gift. It's embarrassing. It's not pleasant to just get gifts. So he was concerned that perhaps Shimon is not going to take it. So he used this sort of trick to get him to get the money, pretended to be buying the field, which he knew was not going to really be considered a valid deal. So ultimately it was meant as a gift. It stays by Shimon. Asks the Gemara, but this is an old machlekes elsewhere. Why repeat the story again? Rav and Shmuel, they already had the same machlekes elsewhere in Kedushin. We have learned that a person gives something to his sister for Kedushin. Kedushin doesn't work by his sister. According to Rabbi, can reclaim his money. Shmuel Amar Ma'is Matan, it's a gift. Same reason. Rabbi Amar Ma'is Chayzun, when the Rabbi can reclaim his money, Adam Yadeh, he knows full and well, Shein Kedushin is Machoisai. Kedushin by his sister is not valid. V'gamar v'nasan l'shem pikadon, it was just a way to give her a deposit, but he really wants it back. V'neimel l'shem pikadon, why didn't he tell us straight out? It's for caretaking. He figures, okay, maybe she's not going to want to take responsibility, so he uses this sort of ploy, but he really means for pikadon. He wants it back. Shmuel considers it a gift. He knows full and well that Kedushin by his sister is not valid. He meant it as a gift. Why didn't he tell us straight out it's a gift? Because it's embarrassing. So basically the same exact machlekes, with the same exact factors. Why do we have to have two scenarios discussed by Rav and Shmuel based on the same precept? Each one has a chiddush. So if only for our case with the purchase of the field, over here I would theorize that Rav holds that it's just meant as a deposit, not as a gift. Typically people don't give gifts to strangers, so we assume it's not a gift, it's just a deposit. By his sister, Ema would say, since she's a close sister, perhaps Rav agrees that Shmuel just meant as a cover for a gift. That's why we discussed the case there as well. No, according to Rav, it's a pikadon. And likewise, had we only discussed the case of Kedushin by the sister, I would say, Shmuel, perhaps it's only there that Shmuel says that we consider it a gift because she's a sister. But over here, when he's purchasing from a stranger, perhaps he agrees to Rav that it's not a gift. That's why we discussed both cases, and they both have the same opinions in both situations. Now comes a kash. Bein l'Rav damar pikadon, bein l'Shmuel damar matana. So ultimately, Levi knew that he was getting involved in a field which wasn't really Shimon's. So whether we consider the funds given as a pikadon or a matana, why is this fellow sitting in the field? Hi, this fellow, this Levi fellow, la'ara b'maykanochis u'perois hechi achal. Why is he actually entering the land? Why is he actually harvesting the fruit? And the fact that he's entering the property, isn't that perhaps an indication that he is assuming the ownership? Right? Not like we're claiming that he knows full and well and he's just giving it as a pikadon matana. It doesn't look like it. By the mere fact that he's exercising, ownership and usage rights. Well, that isn't much of an indication otherwise, says the Gemara. Perhaps he's mistaken in his belief that he can do that. He's just taking over for the Gazlan. Savar, he figures, I know eichas la'ara. Let me enter the land, ve'evid, and toil it and work with it, ve'echel b'gavei, and reap the crops. Just like he was doing, the Ganav. I'm just taking him over temporarily, but he figures that's a legal arrangement. And the chiyasi mardar, of course, when the owner shows up, he'll get it back, and then I'll get back my money. So my money will be either Zuzoi, my money given the Havel Rav, Damar Pekada, and so according to Rav who says that it's Pekadin, yeah. So the owner, the buyer is thinking, yeah, Pekadin will be a deposit. Shmuel, according to Shmuel's opinion, he's thinking otherwise, that it's a gift. Shmuel Damar Matana considers it a gift. So we assume that's what he's thinking, that it's a Matana, it's a gift. Okay, concludes the Gemara. Amar Rav. Hilchasa. We had several discussions regarding a person who purchased a stolen field. What is the halacha? If the owner takes his field back from the fellow who bought it from the Gazlan, the current fellow, the customer could go back to the Gazlan and get reimbursed for the actual money that he paid, and the shvach as well. We disagree with Shmuel. There's no issue of ribbis. Everybody understands it's just compensation for expenses and for loss of value. Here comes another point. Shmuel had told us that the sefer has to consult the seller and whatever to see to what extent he's warranting the deal. No, even though there was no expression of commitment, that he is backing up the entire deal with a shvach, we assume it's assumed. Even though the seller did not personally commit to compensate, to reimburse for shvach, he's committed to that as well. So that's one point. And regarding our recent machlekes, if a buyer was aware of the fact that it was a stolen field, he purchased it anyways, and then he loses the field to the owner, he's entitled to his money back, but not the shvach, like we explained before, but his money he can get back, like Rav, that it's not considered a gift. And finally we say, achrayus toz seferhu. If this, let's say, loan document or sale document does not contain that achrayus clause, which basically is an expression of commitment, where the fellow says, look, any issues, I'm going to back it up with my properties. If that's omitted, if it's missing, we don't say it was deliberate, that he's not committing himself. No, Tohu Sefer, we attribute it to the Sefer overlooked and forgot to include it. But it's a standard clause, and it's included in the deal, bein b'shtari halva, bein b'shtari mekach, whether it's a loan document or a sale document. Okay, that's a very simple, concise conclusion to our sugya. Okay, let's just recap the back and forth. The sugya itself. So we have like this. Shmuel tells us to halachis that a person who purchases a field from a gazlan, he's entitled to his money back, but not the shvach. There's an issue of ribbis. We have two ways to circumvent the ribbis issue, when he's getting paid with karka, or there was a kinyan regarding the shvach. We learned that a bal chayiv can collect the field and the shvach, but not the peres. If his loan amount does not cover the shvach, so he has to reimburse the buyer, the fellow who invested into that field. We had some back and forth on that. Then we had the next case where the buyer was aware of the fact that it was a stolen field. He paid anyways. Rav says it's just a pikot and he can get it back. Shmuel considers it a matan. And then we had Rav's conclusion regarding how we paskin in all these halachis. Okay, continue with Hashem tomorrow. All the best to you and aslach Rav.